Hey guys, so for the last couple of days, I've been seeing a few conversations happening about female rap. Who are the hottest female rappers right now? Who are your favorite female rappers? And mainly the conversation of people feeling like the industry is having a hard time trying to replace Nicki Minaj when we talk about business, finances, sales, and like the money being made within the industry. And basically, if Nicki Minaj was to retire tomorrow, who would be next up to be the queen of rap? I feel like every girl on this picture has some qualities that could help them potentially fill those shoes, but they are all missing at least one thing. So in this video, I'm going to go through each girl and tell you what I think they're missing for them to be the queen or even the princess of rap. First things first, we're going to start with the sales. Nicki's last album, Pink Friday 2, sold 228,000 copies the first week. Cardi B's last album, Invasion of Privacy, sold 255,000 copies first week, but there is an issue with that because Cardi B hasn't released a project since 2018. Megan's last project, Megan, sold 64K first week. Doja Cat's Scarlet sold 72K first week. JT City Cinderella sold 27K first week. Ice Spice's Y2K sold 28K first week. Now, remember that Ice Spice was projected to sell 20K and she ended up selling 28K. So with Latto, her numbers for Sugar Honey Iced Tea aren't in yet, but she's being projected to sell 27K. And being that Ice's numbers were actually a little bit higher than her projection, I'm going to say maybe Latto will sell 30 to 35K. Sexy Red and Sexy We Trust sold 28K. Glorilla Everything sold 33K. Flo Milli Fine Ho Stay sold 16K. Carisha doesn't have a solo project yet, so I'm just going to count the City Girls album Raw that came out last year in 2023. It sold 10K first week. Sweetie's last EP that actually had new songs on it, I think came out in 2022, which was The Single Life, and that sold 2K, 2,000 copies. And then when it comes to Lakia and Bia, they both haven't released an album or a commercially successful mixtape where I was able to pull up any sales, charting, or numbers. Bia did have a mixtape in 2020 that peaked at number 64 on the Billboard Hot 200, but that's it. I don't have any sales. So all these new girls, and none of them are outselling Nicki, except for Cardi, but she's not consistent whatsoever. When you take all of those projects from like 10 different girls that I just listed, besides Nicki's and Cardi's, it only adds up to 310,000 copies. So now let's talk about what I think each girl is missing. And shout out to my friend Makai. I'm going to tag him. Me and him are always having female rap conversations. So me and him were talking about this together. So some of his talking points are included in this as well. I'm going to tag him. Make sure y'all follow him because he's going to start doing content soon. So Cardi B isn't consistent. She also doesn't write all of her own music. In my opinion, she doesn't have a lot of respect for her fans. I think she's very chart obsessed and she needs to not be as chart obsessed because losing your number 2 spot due to you maybe not selling as well is still going to be better than you eventually not being in the conversation at all if you keep dragging this out. Also, put your career over love, relationships, Offset, etc. Babies are a blessing, but I do think she should also stop having so many children back to back. In my opinion, Latto lacks star power and personality. We've been watching her since she was a kid on the rap game, and she's still just not that interesting to me, and I don't know that much about her. To an extent, she also lacks relatability, and I don't feel like each era that she has is different. Like, this Sugar Honey Iced Tea era and Queen of the South basically have the same general theme. I'm from the South, Atlanta to be exact, and I'm that girl. It's like, what else? Megan has a lot of lyrical ability, but I feel like she's using it less and less on each project. Her public image is also a bit tainted, and many feel like she's dishonest or not genuine, which translates to a lack of sales, especially for what she should be selling with her accolades, 3 Grammys, I believe. And in my opinion, her fan base is not as large or strong as the other artists in the female rap lane who have been deemed problematic, such as Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, and even Doja Cat. Doja Cat, I said she needs to focus on making more hip-hop based rap rather than pop-based rap. She needs to repair and strengthen her relationships with the black audience and potential collaborators in hip-hop and rap. She needs to be working with more hip-hop and rap artists who are hot right now. She needs to be attending black events that black audiences watch, like the BET Awards, because they're still nominating her anyway. And she also has a lack of sales for what she should be selling with her accolades, but she's doing slightly better than Megan in sales. For JT, I said work on vocabulary and lyricism, work on mastering flow changes, and just focus on herself. I feel like she spent a lot of time on City Cinderella talking about people flopping, and it backfired on her when her sales came out. And when I say work on her vocabulary and lyricism, I will give you a few examples. In Sideways, she says, I'm just a real bad bitch. Nah, I'm too solid. I'm a real bad bitch. So she just repeated, I'm a real bad bitch, and rhymed bitch with bitch. Then on Serving, she was like, and you ain't got that shit no mo, ho. You ain't got that shit no mo, ho. Like, she do that a lot. She fills space by repeating words. Ice Spice can't make a decent body of work or full-length album. Y2K was an EP. 4 out of 10 songs were singles, so I think we got 6 new songs. That's not an album, especially not a debut album. She lacks versatility, showing little to no growth, actually seems to be going backwards. In my opinion, her underground and EP music was better. She also needs to stop the shit references and stop trying to be Nicki Jr. when you have no lyricism to back it up. Sexy Red also lacks versatility. In my opinion, she very much reminds me of Soulja Boy. I feel like she could make catchy, memorable bops that may feel nostalgic and fun to hear years from now, but there's a lack of subject matter. She's not going in depth, she's not being lyrical, and she's not really giving us anything that displays staying power. But she does have a good personality and comes off more authentic than most of the girls on this list. But I also don't feel like she has a real fan base either. Flo Milli, in my opinion, is very similar to Latto. She lacks star power, relatability, personality, and not much is known about her. Every time I do see her in an interview, I'm bored. I don't feel like I learn much more about her, and everyone always refers to her as being a pretty girl before they say anything about her music or her skill as a rapper. I also feel like she still needs to find her voice, like her rapping voice. Her voice is like a little childish and annoying sometimes, but I do feel like Never Lose Me was a big improvement in that. Caresha / Young Miami. Well, you basically told us you're shelved. Lack of lyrical ability, lack of versatility, no growth, and your personality backfired. And I'll explain what I mean by that. The only thing that kept Caresha going all these years was the fact that she was in the City Girls and she had her attachment to JT as far as her being a rapper. And then her personality and her attachment to Diddy helped her become, bigger as a media personality and an influencer. Now that the City Girls have broken up, you falling out with JT, the label is shelving you due to lack of growth. Diddy is canceled, and we saw your true / real personality with how you handled the Diddy and JT situations. What's left for you as far as rap? Nothing. So just do the podcast, Caresha, please. Now, Sweetie, shout out to her because she is back to being very consistent. She dropped a few songs this month. My Best. She's featured on She Pretty on YG's album. She's featured on LL Cool J song Proclivities, and she's featured on the Rock Your Hips remix by 310 Baby. I just watched the Rock Your Hips remix last night. She actually did really good on that, and that song is viral, so maybe that'll do something for her. I said I feel like her selling the 2,000 copies, that situation really hurt her career and probably her confidence. She needs to work on her lyricism and also continue to tap into the audiences that she's already cultivated, like the college girls and the West Coast girls. She's also been mainstream since 2018, and no debut album is ridiculous, especially when you actually do have multiple multi-platinum hits. I also think she needs to evolve out of the pretty bitch music era and start to provide more substance in her music as well. Okay, Glorilla lacks versatility and is only slightly more lyrical than Sexy Red and Ice Spice to me. She makes fun and relatable music for parties in the hood, but how far would that really take you as a mainstream, long-term artist? Similar to what I said about Sexy Red, but also just like Sexy Red, her authenticity and personality is helping her. Nicki actually just announced that she's taking Bia on Leg 2 as one of her featured guests, so I'll be able to see her perform. But my opinion on Bia is that she sounds monotone on every song and her delivery sucks. She comes on every song sounding like she don't want to be in the studio, she's not interested, she's ready to take a nap, she just woke up, or she just faced 8 blunts. Out of everyone on the list, I feel like Bia, Lakia, and Flo Milli lack a loyal, strong fan base the most. I feel like most of Bia's fans are barbs on the internet, but they're not really listening to or supporting her music. She seems very comfortable in her position and like she may think she's a little bigger as a female rapper than she actually is because she's collaborated with some legends like J. Cole, Nicki Minaj, Busta Rhymes, Lil Jon, and Timbaland. And Lakia, if you asked me in 2018 to 2019, I would have told you that I think Lakia is the next big hip-hop star. But like she had the perfect cross of what everybody sees in Megan and Doja. I feel like Doja can sing and rap, but she's too pop. And I feel like Megan doesn't know how to do melodic music, even though she can rap really well. Lakia was able to sing and sing R&B, not pop, and then also do her hip-hop rap, and it was just this perfect fusion. Like, if you listen to her songs like Windows, Worst Thing, she also had great storytelling ability, and I just feel like once she got with QC, they wanted to have a City Girls backup, and at some point around 2021 to 2022, Lakia's whole image began to change, and she started to rap like a city girl, and it just really hasn't gone back to the original place since then. She stopped singing on her records and her singles that she was releasing, and she dropped 4 mixtapes between 2020 to 2022. The last one was released in 2022, and that's when she just really went off the deep end and like became what I feel like is a copy of the City Girls and Latto and Megan. I feel like the first 3 made more noise because that was before the City Girls started completely failing, and QC was just letting Lakia do her own thing and having her own unique sound. And I really feel like they need to get back to that because y'all trying to market somebody else after the City Girls, and the City Girls aren't even a group anymore. They completely failed and flopped. And even when the City Girls were a big name and they were influential on social media, we can't take away their influence and like on style and lingo and stuff like that in the culture, but they was never selling good. They dropped 3 albums and none of them sold over 20K. So I feel like QC needs to go back to the drawing board with Lakia and let her do what she was originally doing. And I do think that she has potential to fill those shoes, but she would have to get all her accolades and her stats up and everything else. With that being said, if Nicki was to retire today, there would be no new queen of rap. There might be some potential princesses like Cardi, Megan, and Doja based on their sales and accolades, but that's it. All of these other girls have a lot of work to do when it comes to sales, accolades, lyricism, personality, building a fan base, and everything else that we just talked about in this video before they could ever fill the shoes of Nicki Minaj or even be a potential replacement for us or princess. So that's my thoughts, and thank you for watching. Bye, guys.